So as promised, I'm going to cook today, and I was thinking what I could possibly do, and then on Saturday I was riding around on my bike trying to find a supermarket that I used to go to that had capers. That's these in the bottle in the middle here. I always keep capers on hand if I can, but they're very rare in Phnom Penh, and I can't get them anywhere in my neighborhood. So I got on my bike and I started riding around, went to a place I used to go to a long time ago, found them, delighted, came home and said, okay, I know what Tuesday's recipe is going to be. They're going to be something to do with capers. Now, capers are well known in Italian and Greek cooking because the plant grows in the Mediterranean, in the southern parts of Italy and in Greece. The caper itself is the unopened flower bud of the plant, and it's salted down and pickled, and it's used in some dishes. There are some tartar sauces in Britain, the United States, for example, that use them. You do find fish with lemon and capers now and again. Not particularly uncommon, but very, very uncommon in Asia. So what I'm doing here is my first dish. I'm going to make two dishes. This is a kind of fusion version of what Italians call pasta primavera. That is some kind of pasta with spring vegetables. Primavera means spring. But I'm going to dress it with olive oil, limes, and capers. A little bit different from lemon and capers, just to be the chameleon cook. And then second, I'm going to do a dish which is reminiscent of veal piccata, which is a fried veal dish with a sauce of butter and lemon and capers. I'm going to make it a little bit differently. Anyway, let's get started with our pasta. So here to start the process, I have some Asian noodles cooking. I'm not going to cook them for very long, and then I'm going to turn them into my Asian Italian version of primavera with capers. Now I'm going to cook these noodles in the same way that I cook spaghetti. I'm going to cook it al dente, which is not really the Asian way. The Asian cuisines normally cook the noodles much softer, but I'm going to try to keep this Italian-ish, I guess. And I'm going to add a few peas in here just to make the point that it's a primavera, that is a cold pasta dish with vegetables, and I happen to have some peas knocking around. So there's the peas merrily bubbling away with the pasta, and seeing the green and the whitish yellow of the pasta makes me feel like adding some tomatoes to the finished product to make a margherita, like the Italian flag, or a tricolore, I don't know. But this is the initial stage, just getting the pasta ready. I'm going to drain it and then let it cool to room temperature, and then I will make the primavera. Right, so here I have drained the pasta with the peas, and I'm going to let them sit and cool to room temperature before I add the other ingredients. So here's the pasta cooled to room temperature. Don't want to chill it because it will all stick together with the starch on the noodles. But it's at room temperature, and I've added some chopped up tomato. You see, I've seeded the tomatoes. I don't want the fluid from the area around the seeds in the pasta. But I do like the colors. I've got the green, the white, and the red, like the tricolore. And so now I'm going to do two things. I'm going to add some lime zest. And that means I'm going to take my lime and just take the zest off, because there's an awful lot of flavor in the zest. You'll see that these limes are actually not like Persian limes, the big ones that you get in Britain or the United States. These are more like key limes. Very strong flavor. So if you look closely, you can see the zest in here, also giving a nice green color. So I'm just going to add some lime juice, just squeeze it in. I've taken most of the pits out, but sometimes I miss one. Just want to get a sampling of the juice in there. Now I'm also going to add a little extra virgin olive oil. You have to be very careful with extra virgin olive oil, because a lot of oils are advertised as extra virgin, but they're not really. They're mixtures. But you can, and the bottles are green, as you can see. So you can't really tell until you pour the olive oil out, and you can see here that it has a nice green tinge to it. So it's really extra virgin olive oil. And one of the other tricks, not the wisest one, but the common one, is to buy the most expensive olive oil, because extra virgin is really expensive if it's genuine. But you have to have a maker you can trust. Now finally, I'm going to add some capers. Often I will add a little bit of the pickling juice as well. This time I'm not going to. I'm going to just go with the natural flavors. Now what I need to do is toss it all together, and I'm going to then refrigerate, and I'll come back and show you my second dish, which is beef with butter, leeks, and capers. Stay tuned. Alright, so now we'll start on the second dish, which is my version of steak with a caper sauce and with leeks. And I'm just heating up the pan now. I'm going to then add the steak, which is a local steak, so it's not a very good cut. And I'm going to need to slice it very thin, like what they call London broil in the United States. Just going to cook it medium, and I will come back when it's all cooked, and we'll start with the sauce. Well, here you are. It's doing quite nicely. Just going to let it cook a little bit more. Still going to be bloody on the inside, and then I'm going to keep it warm, and I'm going to make the sauce. Alright, so that's ready to come off. I'll turn the heat off, take it out of the pan, and I'm going to add some butter and some leeks to begin the sauce, and then I'm going to add capers. Alright, so here we have step one. I'm just heating a little bit of butter. And I'm going to not heat it very much because I don't want to brown it. Would be interesting if it was brown, but I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to swirl it around to melt. And meanwhile, I'm going to add some chopped up leeks. Just want to soften them. Want them to give a little bit of flavor to the butter. Nothing more. I don't want them to take on any color. Now I'm going to add the capers. Mostly capers, maybe a little tiny bit of juice. Just warm that through. And now I'm going to finish the dish by placing this topping on the sliced beef. So here then is my finished plate. You can see I've got the beef with the leeks and butter and capers, hot and cold, the pasta with peas and tomatoes and capers with the olive oil. So that's my dish for today. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will tell your friends, like and subscribe, and I will be back on Friday with more philosophy. So have a good week.